Hey friends, hope you're doing well. In the last video we created an open source large language model with a nice web interface. But regarding this video I was asked, what about if we would like to chat with our own documents, our own data? So let's get into that and do that in this video. For that I have created a small example, which you can see here. So I have a folder, and in my folder here there's just one PDF file, but it could also be several PDF files, doesn't matter. And this file contains an invoice. Now I only found a German example here, but it doesn't really matter. Let me just explain it to you. It's just an invoice for a German customer here, and there's some information about her. And there's also then a final amount due. So the invoice amount is 127 euros and 33 cents. And let's say we would like to chat with our large language model and extract data from this invoice. This is our example. Now, as I said before, it doesn't matter if you have only one invoice file here or 1,000 invoice files or completely different data. Doesn't really matter. But we want to chat with our invoice in this case. So let me just close this and then let's get started. At first, of course, we need to import a few libraries and dependencies. So I will import the OS module to load my environmental variables. Then we also want to import chainlet to have a nice looking web interface, CL. CL is just an abbreviation. Then we import .env, from .env, import load.env to load my environmental variables. And then we also need a chain. So let's say from langchain, in this case .chains. I want to import the conversation retrieval chain, this one here. So next we want to load our documents, so the PDF file or files which we have. For that we're also going to use langchain and the PDF loader because I have PDF files. But if you have different kinds of file types, then of course you should choose a different loader. For instance, for text files there's a text loader and so on. So let's say from langchain, in this case document loaders, there they are. I want to import the PyPDF loader, this one here, and then also the directory loader, because it could be the case that you have more than just one PDF file in the directory, and then you need both, the directory loader and then for the file type, the PyPDF loader. So next we kind of use some kind of embeddings. So from langchain, in this case, langchain.embeddings, I want to import, and then there are different kinds of embeddings. So for instance, you can use Hugging Face embeddings, these ones, but they're also OpenAI embeddings, by the way, for OpenAI model, that also work. And then I want to import a language model. So last time we used Hugging Face Hub, so to use an open source model, which was Falcon. In this case, I want to use OpenAI. So if you want to follow along with OpenAI, you need to have an OpenAI API key. You can get this for free if you go to their website, but otherwise you could also try, for instance, the Falcon model or a Llama model, which we have used also in various videos in the past. But for me now, I'm going to use OpenAI. So from langchain.llms, so large language models, I want to import OpenAI, this one here. And then we need to split our documents. So for that, I say from langchain, in this case, .text splitter, import the recursive character splitter, this one here. And then for the vector store, we're going to use Vice. They have several ones. You could also use Chroma. So Vice and Chroma normally are in-memory vector stores. So if you have smaller amount of data, that would work better and fast. But if you have larger amounts of data, you might also consider, for instance, Pinecone and other kinds of vector stores. Even though you also have the option, by the way, to persist the vector store. So Vice and Chroma can also be written to disk, and then it makes it easier. So if you do not have too much memory, too much RAM, you could also save this to disk and then load it from there. That would also be possible. So in our case, the document is small, so there's no need to write this to disk. We can keep it in memory, but just to mention that. So next, I want to import the vector store itself. So from langchain, in this case, .vector stores, I will import Vice. So Vice, and as I said, there's also, for instance, Chroma and other kinds of vector stores. So we're going to use Vice for that, and then we're going to use a buffer. So let's say from langchain, in this case, .memory. Here I want to import the conversational memory, conversational buffer memory, this one here. If you have a conversational because there's a retrieval chain, you can use the memory as a buffer. So next, load the environment variables, load.env. Then we define our large language model, so LLM is equal to, and as I said, in my case, I'm going to use OpenAI. As I said, if you would like to use an open source model or from Hugging Face, take a look at the last video, right, that we used Falcon, for instance. So next, we need to define the temperature. So I keep it really low. That just means that I want to have a deterministic output. So I don't want the LLM to think too much about some curious output. I just want to have the real answer, what I would also expect if I talk to a person, for instance. So next, I need to define my key. So OpenAI, the API key. And this I can load from my environment because I here called the load.env. So I can simply go with os.getEnv. So get my environment variable. And in my case, it's my OpenAI API key. So I can specify OpenAI API key like that. Okay, so now we got the key and our model, and now we can use this model. So before we can do that, of course, we need to do a few things because we need to load the data first. So we can define a loader. So the loader is equal to the directory loader. And this directory loader needs a few things. At first, it needs a path. So in my case, the invoice, which I've shown you, is in my data directory, which is in the same folder. So simply I can call it like that. But of course, if you have the folder with the PDF files in a different path, you need to specify the path. Where exactly is it to get there? So next, we define what kind of file types. Well, the glob is defined by glob. The file type is anything which ends with PDF. So star.pdf. That just means that we're going to load everything which is a PDF file from this folder. That's why I said it doesn't matter if you have one PDF file or 10 or 1,000, it would load everything. Of course, if you have more PDF files, it will take a little bit longer. That's for sure, but you can simply get it like that. And finally, of course, we need to define the loader class. And that is why we imported the PyPDF loader, so PyPDF loader, because this statement here just means that we use the directory loader, we load everything from the data folder, which has .pdf as an extension, and we use the PyPDF loader to load these files. So after we have this, now we can actually, in this case, load the data. So simply, they are called documents in LangChain. So we can say documents is equal to, and then loader, in this case, .load. So there's a load option, load, like that. That just means that now it's loading the data. So it's reading the data from PDF files and stores it in documents. And now, of course, we would like to split those documents into smaller chunks. This is just the idea that normally we cannot fit too much data in the large language model. It has a certain kind of limitation in regards of text it can consume, like what the data we give it, right? There are only, it depends on the model. Now we have 16,000 tokens, I think, for the big OpenAI model, but normally there's a limit for how many tokens, how many words basically can give the model. So that's why we want to split the documents normally into smaller chunks. And that just means that we can create a splitter, and this is why we imported the recursive character text splitter, because here we can specify the chunk size. So chunk size is equal to 500, and the chunk overlap is equal to 50, like that. That just means that if you have a long text, simply cut the text after 500 tokens, and then go 50 tokens back, and then from this point, again, use 500 tokens. That's why we have a 50 overlap, and in total, we have always a chunk of 500. That's the idea. Now we have defined the splitter, and of course, now we need to split the documents. So we can say docs is equal to now splitter.split documents, and we need to give it the documents. So the ones we have defined up here. So that's why if you use a different name here, also need to find a different name here. So those are the same. Okay, so we got this. Next, we need to define the embeddings. And as I said, there are various embeddings options. So embeddings is equal to, and now we can define whether we're going to use Hugging Face embeddings or OpenAI embeddings. In the last video, we used Hugging Face embeddings because we also used an open source model. So with the Hugging Face hub. In this case, I'm going to use the OpenAI embeddings. But just to mention this, I was also able to run OpenAI, so the model, with Hugging Face embeddings. So that worked for me. So we could also use Hugging Face embeddings, at least as far as I have tried it. But for me now, I'm going to use the OpenAI embeddings. So OpenAI embeddings, like this one. Okay. All right, here we go. And now, of course, finally, we need to create the vector store. So the vector store is equal to, and that's where we call fice, and now from documents. So that just means that now we have splitted our documents into smaller chunks. We have defined the embeddings, so how the documents will be stored using those embeddings in the vector store. And this is why with this fromDocuments method, we just need to define, okay, what are the documents? So the documents are equal to the docs. These ones here, we have split it. And then what are the embeddings or the embedding? The embedding is equal to the embeddings we defined up here, these ones here. And that just means that now FICE is simply taking a look at the split documents. It converts those documents into vectors using OpenAI embeddings, and those vectors are stored in FICE. And in this case, in memory, because we did not save it to disk. So now we have the vector store, and now let's define the memory. So memory is equal to, and this is our conversational buffer memory, so this one here. And those memory always needs a key, so we need to define a memory key. Now this memory key is chat history like that. And then also define return messages is equal to 2. So that is a Boolean value. That's not required, but I define it here. So that's the memory. And now we're going to use the web frontend from LangChain to call and chat with our documents. So for that, we're going to use something similar to last time. We're going to use the decorator from chainlit.langchain factory. This saves a little bit of time. Of course, we could also do it with chainlit, with the normal chainlit syntax. So if you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments. And also, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel, by the way. Haven't mentioned that so far, so I highly appreciate it if you do. So next, we call, again, use async. We do not use this as an async method, so we can define it as false. And now we need to define the function. So let's say, in this case, the factory. And parentheses, there are no parameters we give it here. So now the chain is equal to, and I'll say conversational retrieval chain, in this case from LLM, so from the large language model. And now we need to define what is the LLM. So LLM is equal to LLM. So this one here, which we defined here up there, right? This is our LLM, so we define it here as well. In our chain, the memory is equal to memory. With the memory we have defined, the chain type normally is type of stuff that's most often used. And then for the retriever, and now it's important, we define a retriever. Why do we define a retriever? Well, so far, of course, if we would call the LLM, right? I mean, it would only use the data it was trained on. But we defined a vector store here. So we want explicitly the model, if we ask something, to take a look at the data in the vector store, which is our own data from the PDF files. This is why we define a retriever, because if we have a retriever, that just tells the model, hey, if we ask you something, then take a look at the retrieving data you get from the retriever, and retrieving data is the data in the vector store. So with this retriever option, we basically tell the model, take a look at the vector store to answer our question. So for the retriever here, we just specify a vector store, and there is a method which is called asRetriever, and then we can define the search quarks. So I think that search quarks, as far as I remember, is equal to, and here we specify the k. So k is the dictionary, and specify it as 2. That just means if we tell the model to take a look at the vector store to answer our question, how many data should it retrieve from the vector store to answer the question. And if we say 2, it just means that we want to have, the model should look up 2, important topics which actually would give the answer to our question from the data we have. So, I mean, if there are 2, sometimes there's only 1, right? But a maximum of 2. So, okay, we have defined that. And finally, of course, we need to return the chain. So return chain. So that is it. And we actually should be good to go now. So let me just save it for now. Okay. And then let's run this and see what this works. Or we have some kind of spelling mistake somewhere. So let's call chainlet run, like that, run. And then I want to, in this case, run the invoice chat.py in my case. So invoice chat.py file, this file. And let's see what this works. So just a second. And okay, now it's loading the environment file, and then it's now looking on localhost. Here we go. There is the chainlet file. And now let me just ask it something, right? So specific to the data we have, right? So from this invoice file here, just means that if we ask the model something about the invoice, we would expect now an answer specific to the data we have. So for instance, if I say, what is the invoice amount? Like that, for instance. And I ask it this one, and let's just run this, and let's just see. And you can see that the invoice amount is 127.33 cents. So 127 euros and 33 cents. Now the interesting point here, for me at least, was that, remember, my invoice, my data was in German. So it was also another language. But I asked it here about the amount in, well, I mean, my question was in English, of course, and I asked it about the amount, and still the model was able, if I take a look at this one, and let me open this again, to take a look here at the invoice written in a different language, takes a look at this one here, this Rechnungsbetrag, it's called in German. This is the invoice amount, which is 127.33 cents, which is exactly the answer, take a look at this one here, we get here, right? And if I, for instance, what was the customer's name, and if I run this one here and take a look at this, and you can see that the customer name is Mrs., this is Frau, Britta Beispiel. And if I take a look at this one, again, my invoice here, so you can see here, that's her name, Britta Beispiel. So it was completely correct about that. And that's the interesting point, right? So this allows us to chat with our own documents, ask questions, and get the results here. And the interesting point here, of course, is also, as you've seen, that I can also take a look at invoices written in a different language. Still ask here in English or my native language and get the result. Now, this, of course, currently is using OpenAI. So that just means that you need an OpenAI API key. And also, it is not completely disconnected from the internet, right? Potentially, because we're gonna call OpenAI API key. This is why we are connected to the internet to actually run the model, even though our vector store is locally stored. But if, for instance, we're gonna use a local model and do the same, then of course we would completely be disconnected from the internet, which would be probably very important if this is proprietary data for a company, for instance. So we just would need to have our own local large language model. And on my channel, I have a video where we're going to use Llama locally. And then, of course, you could try this as well and see how good the result is. Now, I'm not sure whether the result is as good as with OpenAI here, but we could give it a try, right? And run the local Llama model. And if this also works, then we would have a way to chat with our own documents here, also in different languages, to get results from these PDF files, from invoices, or whatever kind of proprietary data we have. And also have this completely separate from the internet. So we can do it completely with our private data. And this will also be working in a company, for instance. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Also give this a try yourself. And if you have not done so far, please consider subscribing to the channel. And also give this video a like and share it with your friends. And also everyone else interested. So thanks a lot, take care, and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.